Every cartel rank comes with one rule. The higher you go, the closer you are to dying. From a 13-year-old lookout to the boss who trusts no one. This is what your life looks like at every cartel level. You're at the bottom. You're a halcón, a lookout. You're 12, maybe 13. You live in a neighborhood where the streetlights don't work and the cops don't come unless someone's already dead. Your dad left years ago, or works so much you barely see him. Your mom is doing everything she can, but everything she can isn't enough. You wear the same 3 shirts to school every week, and kids notice. You've never had a new pair of shoes in your life. Then one day, an older kid from your block, the one with the nice shoes and the new phone, asks if you want to make some money. Not a lot, maybe 50 bucks a week, sometimes just a meal and a prepaid phone. All you have to do is stand on this corner and watch. If you see cops, you send a text. If you see a rival crew, you whistle. That's it, easiest job in the world, right? You're basically getting paid to stand around and look at cars. Your friends are making $0 doing the same thing for free. At this level, you're so low on the food chain that you're barely a snack. You're not even in the cartel yet. You're just a hawk, a pair of eyes. But here's the thing, you feel important. You're part of something. The older guys nod at you now. Your mom thinks you got a job at a taco stand, and you let her believe it, because the truth would break her heart. You buy her flowers one day, and she cries. Life is good. But what nobody tells you is this. You're not an employee, you're a tool. And tools get replaced. You miss one cop car, you send one text too late, and you don't get fired. You don't get yelled at, you just stop existing. One day you're on the corner, the next day, there's a different kid standing in your spot, and nobody asks questions. Your mom will put up missing posters that nobody will read. Because in this world, 12-year-olds are cheaper than burner phones. There's always another hungry kid on the next block. You've moved up. You're a soldado now, a soldier. You didn't mess up. You were good at your job, reliable, kept your mouth shut. After a year or two, someone handed you a gun. It was heavier than you expected. It felt like power in your palm. You've officially joined the team. At this rank, your job is simple. Do what you're told. Collect money from people who owe. Intimidate the ones who are late. Guard shipments. Stand outside buildings looking scary. Sometimes worse. Things you don't talk about. Things you try not to think about when you're lying in bed at night. You don't ask what's in the packages. You don't ask where the money goes. You just do your job and collect your pay. Maybe $200 a week. Sometimes $500 if things are busy. That's more than your dad makes in a month breaking his back at a construction site. And you're 19. You feel powerful. You walk through your neighborhood and people move out of your way. Grown men who used to yell at you for playing football in the street now look at the ground when you pass. Girls who ignored you in school suddenly know your name. They laugh at your jokes now. Funny how that works. You buy your mom a new refrigerator. You pay off her debts. You feel like a provider, a protector, a man. But here's what you don't see yet. You're not climbing a ladder. You're walking into a blender. The average life expectancy of a soldado is measured in months, not years. You're muscle. You're expendable. There are 100 guys just like you, ready to take your spot. And the gun they gave you? It's not for your protection. It's so you can die fighting before you become a problem. Every soldado thinks they're different. Every soldado thinks they're smarter, faster, more loyal than the last guy. And every soldado ends up in the same place, face down in a ditch or locked in a cell, wondering if that refrigerator was worth it. Welcome to the next level. You're a sicario, a hitman. You survived. You weren't just tough, you were cold. You could do things that made other soldiers throw up. You didn't flinch, you didn't hesitate. Someone noticed. Someone always notices. They pulled you aside and offered you a new position. You're not a soldier anymore, you're a specialist. At this level, the pay is different. You don't get a weekly salary, you get paid per job. One job might get you a few thousand. A high-profile target, tens of thousands. You're not standing on corners anymore. You're traveling, you're planning, you're executing. Literally, you might be in one city on Monday and 3 states away by Wednesday. No social media, no real friends, no paper trail. You become a shadow with a pulse. And here's the sick part. This is where a lot of guys feel the most alive. The adrenaline, the precision, the planning that goes into each job. The fact that you're the one they call when regular soldiers can't get it done. You're elite. You're feared. Entire families go quiet when they hear you're in town. Regular soldiers step aside when you walk past. You're not just a guy with a gun anymore. You're the monster that other monsters are afraid of. And there's a twisted pride in that. You tell yourself you're good at your job. You tell yourself the targets deserved it. You tell yourself whatever you need to sleep at night. But you're also a liability. Sicarios know things: names, locations, methods, which politicians are on the payroll, where the bodies are buried, sometimes literally, because you're the one who buried them. You're valuable as long as you're useful. But the moment you slow down, the moment you get caught, the moment you become a risk, you become a target yourself. The cartel doesn't have a retirement plan for sicarios. There's no gold watch, no pension, no thank you for your service. There's just a shallow grave somewhere in the desert and a new guy ready to take your place by tomorrow morning. You know too much, and dead men don't testify. You've got your own territory now. You're a plaza boss, a regional commander. You weren't just cold, you were smart, organized. You knew how to manage people, move product, and keep the money flowing. They gave you a city, maybe a border crossing, maybe a whole smuggling route worth millions. At this rank, you've got soldiers reporting to you, sicarios on speed dial, halcones on every corner feeding you information. Money is pouring in, tens of thousands a month, sometimes hundreds of thousands. You've got cars you dreamed about as a kid, houses with pools, women who don't ask where the money comes from, respect everywhere you go. You're living the life that every kid on that corner dreams about. You made it. You actually made it. But here's what they don't show you in the movies. You never sleep. Not really, not deeply, because now you have enemies everywhere. Rival cartels want your territory. They're probing your defenses, testing your soldiers, looking for weakness. The government wants your head on a poster, and worst of all, your own people want your job. The same soldiers you're paying are looking at you thinking, why should he have all this? I could do what he does. Every handshake is a potential betrayal. Every dinner could be your last. Every new guy could be an informant. You start carrying 2 phones, then 3. You stop telling anyone where you sleep. Your own family becomes a liability, because everyone knows the easiest way to control a plaza boss is through the people he loves. Your wife, your kids, your mother. They're not your comfort anymore. They're your weakness, and everyone is watching. You wanted power, you got paranoia instead. You've entered the inner circle. You're a lieutenant, an underboss. You survived the plaza. You were smart enough, brutal enough, and lucky enough to get noticed by the people at the very top. They pulled you in. You're one of the boss's most trusted men now. At this level, there are maybe 5 or 6 people in the entire organization at your rank. You're in rooms where decisions get made that affect thousands of lives. Your job isn't street level anymore. You're coordinating shipments across international borders, managing relationships with corrupt politicians and police chiefs, laundering money through dozens of businesses. The money is insane. We're talking millions. You've got properties in 3 countries under names that don't exist, bank accounts your own family doesn't know about. You made it. You're untouchable. But you also can't go home. Your face is on watch lists in a dozen countries. Your name is in files you'll never see, in agencies you've never heard of. Every text you send, every call you make, someone might be listening. And your family? They're not a comfort anymore. They're leverage. Your kids go to school with bodyguards who don't look like bodyguards. Your wife hasn't relaxed in years. She flinches at loud noises. You built this empire for them, but you've also turned their lives into prisons. Golden prisons, sure, but prisons. And here's the worst part. You can't quit. You know too much. The only way out of this position is a prison cell or a coffin. Those are your options. Pick one. There is no third door. You've reached the top. You're El Jefe, the boss, the final rank, the one who runs everything. At this rank, you've got billions of dollars in product moving across continents, thousands of men under your command, politicians, judges, generals, all on your payroll. You've built an empire that rivals some governments. You are untouchable. You are a god. Except you're not. You haven't seen your children in years. It's too dangerous. Any location you visit becomes a target the moment you leave. You can't go to their birthdays. You can't go to their graduations. You missed your daughter's wedding because showing up would have gotten everyone killed. You watch their lives through photos sent on encrypted apps. And sometimes, you wonder if they even remember your face. You eat food prepared only by people you've known for decades. And even then, you watch them take the first bite before you touch your plate. You never sleep in the same place twice. You have 20 houses, and you're comfortable in none of them. Your face is the most wanted in multiple countries. There is no restaurant nice enough, no beach private enough, no mansion secure enough for you to ever truly relax. You are the most powerful man in the organization, and you are also the most trapped. Think about the famous bosses you've heard of, the ones who made headlines. How many of them died peacefully in their beds? How many retired to a quiet life with their grandchildren? None. They get captured in their underwear, hiding in tunnels. They get killed by their own people. They get betrayed by lieutenants, bodyguards, even family members looking for reward money. The throne isn't a reward, it's a countdown. Every boss knows their ending. They just don't know the date. So here's what nobody tells you about the cartel ladder. Every rank looks up and sees freedom. The halcón sees the soldier and thinks, he's got money and respect. The soldier sees the sicario and thinks, he's got power. He's feared. The sicario sees the plaza boss and thinks, he's got everything. And the plaza boss looks up at the jefe and thinks, he's untouchable. But the jefe looks down and sees the truth. He sees a 13-year-old kid on a corner who can still walk away, who can still go home to his mother and eat dinner at a normal table, who can still fall in love, get a real job, grow old with grandchildren who aren't afraid. And he realizes that kid has something he'll never have again. A way out. The cartel doesn't promote you, it owns you. Every step up is another chain around your neck. More money, yes. More power, yes. But also more enemies, more paranoia, more blood on your hands that you can never wash off. The higher you climb, the smaller your world becomes. Until you're sitting in a room surrounded by armed guards, eating food someone else tasted first, wondering if today is the day one of them decides to pull the trigger. Most cartel members don't die at the top. They die trying to get out. And the ones who make it to the top, they die wishing they'd never started climbing. So here's my question for you. If you were born into this world, no other options, no way out, which rank would you try to stay at? Would you stay a halcón and hope nobody notices you? Would you take the money and become a soldier? Or would you risk everything and try to escape before it's too late? Let me know in the comments. I'm genuinely curious what you do. And if this video kept you watching until the end, hit that like button and subscribe. I've got more stories like this coming, and trust me, you don't want to miss them.